There is a powerful emotional energy surrounding you right now, and someone's heart is quietly struggling with something they can no longer control. This message feels intense because it speaks about a connection that was never supposed to become this deep, yet somehow it did. Someone around you has been trying very hard to fight what they feel for you. They try to silence their emotions, distract themselves, even convince their own mind that this connection was not as strong as it seemed. But the truth is beginning to surface, and the more they try to resist it, the more their heart continues to pull them back toward you. Before we dive deeper into what the cards are revealing, remember that tarot readings are a form of spiritual guidance. Every message may not resonate with everyone, so please only take what resonates with you and leave the rest behind. If this message feels familiar to your heart, then there is a reason you were guided here today. The energy I am picking up on right now feels like someone who tried to keep their emotions under control for a very long time. This is not someone who fell for you easily or impulsively. In fact, this person may have been the one who tried the hardest to stay emotionally distant. They might have acted calm, logical, or even indifferent at times, as if your presence did not affect them. But beneath that surface, something much deeper has been happening inside their heart. What makes this situation so interesting is that this person did not expect you to impact them the way you did. When they first met you, they may have thought you were simply another person passing through their life. But over time, something shifted. Your energy, your presence, the way you carry yourself, or even the way you speak may have touched something within them that they were not prepared for. And when that realization started to grow, their first reaction was not to embrace it. It was to fight it. Some people become afraid when they feel a connection that is stronger than what they can logically explain. When emotions start to feel real and meaningful, it can make someone feel vulnerable. This person may have worried about losing control of their feelings, about opening their heart, or about what could happen if they allowed themselves to fully feel what was building between you. So instead of moving closer, they may have stepped back. Instead of expressing their emotions, they may have tried to hide them. But here is the interesting part about emotional truth. No matter how much someone tries to push it away, genuine feelings have a way of returning again and again. They appear in quiet thoughts during the day. They appear in memories that suddenly come back. They appear in the strange moments when someone realizes they are thinking about you without even trying. And that is exactly what seems to be happening here. This person has been in an internal battle between their mind and their heart. Their mind keeps telling them to stay guarded, to keep their distance, to maintain control of the situation. But their heart is no longer cooperating with that plan. The emotions they tried to ignore are now becoming stronger, clearer, and much harder to deny. The energy around you right now suggests that someone is slowly realizing that resisting their feelings for you may not be possible anymore. The walls they built around their heart are starting to weaken. The resistance they once held onto so tightly is beginning to soften. And what the cards are about to reveal is why this person fought these feelings for so long, and why their heart is finally beginning to surrender to the connection they once tried so hard to escape. Now, as we move deeper into this reading, the energy becomes much clearer and much more emotional. The cards are telling the story of someone who has been quietly struggling with their own heart. This is not someone who immediately allowed their feelings to grow without hesitation. In fact, this is someone who resisted those emotions with everything they had. They tried to stay logical. They tried to convince themselves that what they felt for you could be ignored or controlled. But the more time has passed, the more they have realized that some emotions cannot simply be turned off. The first card appearing in this reading is the Two of Cups. This card is one of the most powerful indicators of emotional connection between two people. It represents a bond where two souls recognize each other on a deeper level. This does not always mean that both people immediately express their feelings, but it does suggest that the emotional current between them is strong and meaningful. When the Two of Cups appears, it often shows that there is mutual energy flowing between two individuals. Even if one person tries to hide it, the connection still exists. In your situation, this card suggests that when this person encountered your energy, something inside them responded immediately. There may have been a moment when they felt an unexpected sense of familiarity or emotional comfort around you. But instead of embracing that feeling right away, this person seems to have reacted differently. They may have tried to analyze the situation rather than feel it. Some people are naturally cautious when emotions begin to grow. They may have past experiences that taught them to protect their heart, or they may simply be someone who fears vulnerability. So rather than leaning into the connection, they tried to step back from it. This is where the second card begins to explain their behavior. The Strength card appears in this reading, and it carries a message about emotional restraint and self-control. This person has been trying to keep their feelings contained. Strength in this context is not about dominance or force. Instead, it represents someone attempting to master their inner world. They may have told themselves that allowing these emotions to grow would complicate things. They may have believed that staying emotionally guarded was the safest choice. On the outside, they may appear calm, composed, or even distant. But inside, the story is very different. The Strength card shows that controlling their emotions has required a great deal of effort. It has not been easy for them. Every time they feel themselves drawn toward you, they remind themselves to remain steady. Every time they think about expressing their feelings, they hold back. This kind of emotional restraint often comes from fear. Not fear of the other person, but fear of what the connection might mean. Opening the heart requires vulnerability, and vulnerability can feel risky for someone who is used to maintaining control over their emotions. But the third card in this reading reveals something important about the shift happening within them. The Page of Cups now enters the energy. This card represents the awakening of emotional curiosity. The Page of Cups is someone who begins to explore their feelings rather than suppress them. This person may have started noticing that thoughts of you appear more frequently in their mind. They may find themselves wondering about you when they least expect it. Perhaps they remember small details about conversations you shared. Maybe they recall the way you smiled, the tone of your voice, or the way your presence made them feel calm in a way they cannot fully explain. The Page of Cups also suggests that their heart is slowly becoming softer toward the connection. Instead of only trying to control their emotions, they may now be allowing themselves to feel them in small moments. They may not be ready to express everything yet, but internally something has shifted. What makes this change even more significant is the next card appearing in the reading. The Eight of Cups reveals that this person once tried to distance themselves emotionally. At some point, they may have believed that walking away from the connection would help them regain control of their feelings. They might have created space between you. They might have reduced communication or avoided situations where the emotional connection felt too strong. Sometimes people believe that if they step away from something meaningful, their feelings will slowly fade over time. But the Eight of Cups carries a deeper meaning in this context. It shows that even when someone tries to leave an emotional situation, their heart does not always follow the same path. This person may have physically or emotionally stepped back, but the connection remained present in their thoughts. Even while focusing on other parts of their life, they may have found themselves remembering you. Certain songs, places, or simple everyday moments may have reminded them of your presence. This kind of emotional attachment is difficult to escape because it is not based on surface attraction. It is based on a deeper energetic connection. The more they tried to move forward without acknowledging those emotions, the more they realized that their heart was not cooperating with their plans. This internal conflict may have created confusion within them. Part of them wanted to maintain distance, while another part kept returning to the thought of you. Then the energy shifts again with the appearance of the Queen of Cups. This card is very important because it reflects the emotional impact you may have had on this person. The Queen of Cups represents someone who carries emotional depth, compassion, and intuitive understanding. Your energy may feel calming to them in a way they did not expect. There may be something about the way you listen, the way you express kindness, or simply the peaceful presence you carry that makes them feel emotionally safe. For someone who is used to guarding their heart, encountering this kind of energy can be both comforting and unsettling at the same time. Comforting because it feels genuine and nurturing, but unsettling because it awakens emotions they were not prepared to face. The Queen of Cups energy is not loud or dramatic. It is subtle but powerful. It draws people in naturally without forcing attention. This may be exactly why this person finds it difficult to ignore you. Even when they try to focus on other things, your presence remains in their emotional memory. They may compare other interactions to the way they feel when they are around you, and something about that comparison always leads their thoughts back in your direction. Finally, the last card appearing in this reading is the Wheel of Fortune. This card represents cycles, timing, and the way life sometimes moves in unexpected directions. The wheel reminds us that certain connections appear in our lives for reasons that may not be immediately clear. Sometimes people meet each other at moments when they are not emotionally prepared for what the connection will become. At first, they may try to resist it because the timing feels confusing or complicated. But as life continues to move forward, circumstances begin to shift. The Wheel of Fortune suggests that the emotional situation between you and this person is approaching a turning point. The resistance they once held onto is slowly weakening. The feelings they try to control are becoming stronger and more difficult to deny. This does not necessarily mean that everything will change instantly, but it does show that the internal struggle within them is reaching a moment of realization. They are beginning to understand that what they feel for you is not something temporary. It is something real. When all these cards come together, they tell a story about someone who encountered a connection that touched their heart deeply. Instead of embracing it immediately, they tried to maintain control. They tried to keep their emotions contained and logical. But emotions connected to genuine bonds have a way of growing quietly over time. They appear in thoughts that return again and again. They appear in moments of reflection when someone realizes that a certain person continues to occupy a special place in their heart. This person may still appear calm on the outside. They may still act like they have everything under control. But inside, something very different is happening. Their heart is slowly letting go of the resistance they once held so tightly. They are beginning to understand that some connections cannot be ignored simply because they feel overwhelming. Some emotions cannot be pushed away forever. The truth is that this person tried to fight what they feel for you. They tried to convince themselves that they could remain unaffected. They tried to maintain distance so that their heart would stay protected. But the more they resisted the connection, the more their heart continued moving toward you. And now they are standing in a moment where their emotions are becoming impossible to hide from themselves. Their mind may still attempt to analyze the situation, to stay cautious, to move slowly. But their heart already knows something important. It knows that the connection they tried to avoid is the very one that continues to call them back. And slowly, quietly, their heart is beginning to surrender to the truth they once tried so hard to deny. As this reading comes to a close, the energy surrounding your connection feels deeply emotional and quietly powerful. What these cards have revealed is not a story of someone who never cared. Instead, it is the story of someone who cared more than they were ready to admit. Their heart recognized something in you that felt meaningful, something that stirred emotions they did not expect to feel so strongly. For a long time, they tried to stay in control of those emotions. They told themselves that keeping distance would make things easier. They may have convinced their mind that ignoring the connection would eventually make the feelings disappear. But the truth is that genuine emotions rarely fade just because someone tries to suppress them. Instead, they grow quietly beneath the surface, waiting for the moment when they can no longer be denied. This person has been standing between two powerful forces within themselves. On one side, their mind has been trying to protect them, reminding them to stay cautious, to remain guarded, to avoid vulnerability. On the other side, their heart has been whispering something very different. Their heart keeps reminding them of the way they feel when they think about you, the comfort they sense in your energy, and the connection they cannot easily explain. What makes this situation so intense is that the feelings involved are not shallow. The connection carries emotional depth, and that is exactly why it has been difficult for this person to face it openly. Sometimes people resist the things that matter the most because they understand how much those things could change their life. But resistance can only last for so long when the heart continues speaking its truth. Over time, the emotional walls someone builds begin to soften. The distance they once believed would protect them starts to feel heavier than simply acknowledging what they feel. That is the energy we see here now. The struggle within them is slowly shifting. The control they once held so tightly is beginning to loosen, and the emotions they tried to ignore are becoming clearer. This does not mean everything will happen instantly or dramatically, but it does suggest that this person is beginning to accept what their heart has known for a while. For many of you, this reading may explain why the energy between you and this person has felt confusing at times. You may have sensed their feelings through small actions, subtle attention, or moments where their energy felt close, followed by moments where they seemed distant again. That push and pull often appears when someone is trying to fight emotions that feel stronger than they expected. But the cards suggest that this internal battle is reaching a point where the truth can no longer be hidden from themselves. Their heart is slowly learning that some connections are not meant to be resisted forever. Some emotions appear in our lives because they carry meaning, growth, and change. As you move forward from this reading, remember that the energy of your own heart matters just as much as theirs. Connections unfold in their own timing, and every person involved must move through their own emotional journey before things can fully align. The message here is simply revealing what is happening beneath the surface. Someone who once tried very hard to fight what they feel for you is beginning to realize that their heart no longer wants to resist. The emotions they tried to silence are now becoming part of their truth. And sometimes the most powerful moment in any connection is not when someone first feels those emotions, but when they finally stop fighting them. If this message resonated with you, trust your intuition and the energy that brought you here today. The cards have simply revealed what has been quietly unfolding in someone's heart.